anyway, did you figure out what happened with the deal?
I don't know. We sat over there and talked about it for a little bit, and then...
Oh, I surmise what happened was somebody was pulling out of Wendy's and didn't see somebody going northbound, because that's what it looked like as they converged.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so somebody was all excited about getting that bag of food, and they're like, oh yeah,
gotta get the Bigboy
and they ran right out of that parking lot and right in front of another car, you know. I said, I hope everybody's okay, but I said, hey, at least they got lunch, right?
Right, they got lunch. That's the most important meal of the day, man.
We'll just wait for them to come and get us. Here, let's have lunch. I'm sure they were okay. It didn't look like it was anything too serious. They just kind of collided on the side, and a couple $2,000-3,000 worth of damage on each car, and
insurance will handle it.
Insurance will handle it, and we go about our merry way.
Right. I wish there was more lights on. I mean, we already got a light there and there, but West Branch is getting to the point where it's like, it's just so many people.
Well, we got a lot of people, a lot of traffic, a lot of businesses, and and we're drawing more people in. The more stuff we put here, you get this funnel effect.
Right.
And I think that's what's happening with like these big box stores, like Myers on the other end of town, Walmart. We got Home Depot. I mean, they're anchor stores, and so people are driving from a lot of areas to shop here. Incidentally, we're also bringing a lot of people as employees from other areas. We got a lot of people that don't necessarily live in West Branch.
Right, they just work here.
They just work here, and then they're driving back to Standish or Sterling, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just fine. But all this stuff. I mean, it's like a magnet, and you just keep piling more together, and they just keep sticking together, and just get more and more and more. Yeah, exactly. And then finally, some guy walks up to you and says, "Hey, I got some of these machines I'd like to put in your lobby. Could you help me out with that?"
And that's how it all started.
That's how it all started.
I walked in one day and I was just like, "Hey, I got some sticker machines. I'm hoping maybe you and I can get one place."
Let me ask you this question: Did the other machines that I had here, because I did have a couple predecessors, did they tend to maybe hey, he's got a couple there, kind of like that magnet effect I was talking about,
bit.
like one drew the other one in, and
I think it was kind of like, so I went on Facebook Marketplace, I bought some machines, told myself to get them landed, and I put them at the mall just down the road here, and this was the first place that came to mind. I was like, I went here as a kid, I know Tom, I don't know what the rules are, but I'm sure if I just grease Tom's palms
and I think subconsciously too, you remember there being machines out there.
Machines here,
I think that kind of
was like, all right, maybe I can get in, put one right next to it, and we're doing good with them. I think you were surprised. I remember the first time.
I was a little surprised.
And you're like, hey, this is for me. This wasn't the total.
Exactly.
It
was nice. Good arrangement. Well, and what's nice about it too is with your machines, and then I do have another guy out there that has a couple machines, because people do this. I mean, they do it because it's fun, and I think it's somewhat lucrative.
Yeah, there it is.
So I think now that I've got all those machines out in the lobby, it draws people to them, just like all this other stuff. And I'll see kids out there playing. Their parents will stop them. They'll stop out there and they'll play a couple games. They'll get change for me out of the till, and it's a way to preoccupy those kids for a little bit. It just adds to the element.
It really is. It's your way to keep control.
And for me, people that are traveling up north, they'll say, "Oh yeah, let's go to that restaurant that had all the games out front."
The games, they had the stickers, they had the Pokemon cards.
I think I got like 6 machines out there total.
Yeah, who knows?
So
maybe one day it'll be.
I think half of them are yours. Maybe it'll be 20. I'll have to add a new room on.
I'll have to do an addition.
Be Tom's Bigboy and Arcade.
Dino and Tom's Bigboy.
There you go. Yeah, we gotta have the Dino in there.
I was gonna say, we gotta have the brand.
Because one doesn't work without the other. So
100%.
Yeah, I've known you for a little while, haven't I?
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
I remember the earliest memory I have of Tom has got to be at your house watching Scooby-Doo, and it was the Island one. Sitting on the couch, I was probably 6 years old. You guys were playing euchre or Texas Hold'em, or some kind of card game. You guys didn't have kids, so you guys were like, here's the VCR. And
that's
watch Scooby-Doo.
Well, we always kept a few kids movies in there just in case, because I have nieces and nephews too, and they would come over, and so just a little entertainment for the young people. And I've known you guys for a long time, known your family, your mom and your dad, and I'm not surprised that you have this entrepreneurial spirit, because your parents are go-getters too.
Yeah, exactly.
They're always staying busy, and they're always looking for something to do, and and I think that's a good attribute that you can take into your career too. You know, you got to keep moving. If you want to get anywhere, you got to keep moving. You got to put one foot in front of the other, and I like the fact that you've spent some time researching the games, that you've gotten familiar with what things to put in those vending machines,
and learning what to buy, what not to buy, and I've had my hiccups along the way buying arcade
there's a learning curve. There always is.
You know, I got good equipment, but I also picked up some used equipment that bit me in the ass.
Well, you're gonna skin your knees once in a while. It's bound to happen. But
starting a fresh business, you're gonna have that.
But you know, if you don't want to get hurt, then you don't play the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is all part of the process, and I like you got the machine next door at the rallies, because we got rallies too, and
rallies.
And I like that because it's something totally different
than what's already there.
Exactly. It's pretty interesting.
We can put plush toys in it. We can put high-end prizes in it. Fortnite cards. It's a merchandiser. We can put anything in.
Right.
You know, and it's.
Well, if I recall, I think you had there was like and I'm not familiar with this stuff, probably because of my age. I don't know. You know, I was talking earlier, and I said, my first video game was the Pong game.
Yeah, we had the
It was I think it was made by Sears and Roebuck, and it was just two paddles on a screen and the little dot going back and forth, and then it would get fast. It'd be like bum 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 bum, bum back and that was my extent of video games. And I personally never really got enamored with video games. I mean, I wasn't really mesmerized by it. It was, for me, it was just kind of frustrating, because I was never real good at them, and so I kind of like, I don't want to do this. I want to go tear something apart and fix it. Right. So I would be the guy that would fix your machines. You give me a bag of tools, I would come in, tear it all apart, put it all back together, and get it working right. But I like the fact that you got some more higher tech game or prizes in the machine. Like I seen, isn't there like a Nintendo?
We had a Nintendo Switch game.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Pokemon prizes in there.
Yep.
We had some AirPods in there, but I actually ended up pulling those for another location.
Okay.
Begging me for AirPods.
Right.
I have like one or two, and one of them's at rallies. So I'll swap out with something else.
Right.
Equivalent value.
Well, I think those attract the older players.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the kids that are maybe in their mid-teens or maybe even early 20s, or maybe even adult too. I mean, I got adults that they're hanging out in the lobby, they're waiting for their sandwich, and I'll sell them a couple dollars worth of quarters, and they start playing the games. So
it's all passive income for me. So it makes it really easy for me to just come in on the weekends, check it out, chat with you, get a hot fudge sundae, and get the prizes rolling and get rolling to the next location, and just keep on rolling. And it's building. It's building really fast, and it's more than I thought it would become. But just keep buying equipment. I got 6 new machines coming, and all those already spoken for. And then come summer around to buying another 6 or 8, and just keep getting these grocery stores and these other locations. And it's just moving.
I would think that was probably probably one of the biggest hurdles was finding places that would take them. Yeah, it is.
Luckily for me, I'm the only young person in really all of Michigan or mid-Michigan that's doing it.
Right.
Everybody's older. They've been doing it for 30 years. They're retired. They're selling equipment. They're pulling them off locations because they're retiring. And,
right.
It makes it easy for me to come and say, hey, I got a podcast. I got a little video thing, advertising, and brand new machines with the best product.
Right.
We're gonna make a lot of money, and it works.
And I think trying to convince the operator as to what the advantages are for him, aside from just getting the there's a little bit of money involved. I mean, we get paid once a month, and it's nice. I mean, it's extra income. It's
and it's no work, no commitment.
No work, no commitment, don't do anything. But more important than that even is the fact that for my environment, having those in the lobby, it gives my guests, because I have customers too, it gives them something to do.
Yeah, it's occupied. It's good child control.
Yep, it is.
And that's why I usually market at the grocery stores.
Makes a little memory.
Yeah, exactly. If parents have problems with kids not acting up or they're not controlled very well, I'll say, hey, just tell them right at the beginning. You can play the claw machine or you can play the toy or whatever machine I have there.
Yep.
If they behave the whole time at the grocery store, the whole time somewhere, then they get the reward. And it's great to keep things under control.
Honestly, I don't know. I can't imagine the lobby without that stuff in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean,
it's always been there. It's like a movie theater.
Yeah.
It's something wholesome that people
good
enjoy.
point. Yep. Well, and I think even when you go in places like movie theaters and those type of venues, there a lot of times they'll have stuff like this in there to kind of keep people occupied.
You're waiting for the movie or the next movie. You're waiting for their date that didn't show up.
Yeah, I mean it's a win-win. It really is. But I think you got to be a go-getter. You gotta
be a salesman for this kind of job.
Yeah, you do.
If you don't have the salesman, you don't have the personality, you don't have the enjoyment or the fun factor of it.
And I got to be a salesman in my job. I'm in the restaurant business and I'm selling food, and so I have to sell not only my product, but I have to sell my atmosphere. I have to sell my concept. I have to sell my employees. I have to sell my food safety. All those elements that go with it. Like keeping your machines clean. That's important.
Exactly.
And they are clean. They're nice. They're neat. They look good. And I like that too, because I think again that speaks volumes to how we think and how we are.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that just translates into just a quality experience for everybody.
And good sales at the end of the day, right?
Well, and a few good sales, So how'd I start here?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I think we're kind of around that point.
I was a kid. Well, we got to how have we been doing with the machines.
Okay.
I think we covered that.
Yeah, exactly.
We're doing pretty good. It's kind of nice to get a little something once a month. My role at Bigboy, we didn't do that one yet.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of touched on it.
We can start even how you started into where you're at now. Just
Right.
And make it a little more interesting.
Okay.
'Cause you started here as a young man. You were saying.
I was a young man. I was 14 years old, and my mother thought maybe it'd be a good idea for me to get a job. And I was always kind of an antsy kid. I like to do things. I like to stay busy. I like to have little projects to do. I like to draw a lot. I mean, I'm always trying to do something, and I am a task-oriented person. I like to use my hands for things. I can't sit still very long. And my mother worked out here actually at the time, and she knew the owners. She knew them from Houghton Lake. She actually grew up with them.
Oh, okay.
So and then that kind of, I don't know if that made me feel weird or not, but she sent me up here, and I remember when I got interviewed, they asked me if I was getting my job so I could make some beer money. Now
that's a good response. You could say, yeah, I want some beer money.
I'm 14 years old. I was shocked. I didn't know what to say. I'm like, yeah.
Kind of. I mean, I don't know what else I need a job.
That's like when you're 14 and somebody asks how old you are and you tell them you're 23.
Exactly. A little white lie.
Yeah, a little white lie. You want to make yourself sound better.
Right.
So, we talked for a little bit, and then I went home, and he didn't call me right away, and a couple days went by, and then I found out I got the job, and I was so disappointed. I really was. I was 14. I was disappointed. Well, because now there's a level of commitment involved.
Yeah. Right now you're on the page.
Well, now I got a schedule. I got to be there at a certain time. So my freedom kind of changes a little bit, and so I got started. And at first I had a little bit of an attitude problem at 14 years old, and I had to get that adjusted, and I'm glad I did. I was just a little angry, and at 14, you're working with a lot of older adults at that point.
Yeah, they're going to kind of push you down a little bit. Well, I've been here 5 years. I know how to run the dishwasher.
They give you a little bit of an attitude adjustment, and they kind of step on your pride a little bit. And all of a sudden you're 14 years old and you're starting to learn that you don't know everything yet. And so I got through that phase, and then I started to excel at what I did. I was becoming just as good or maybe better than some of the peers that I worked with, especially in the kitchen area. And by the time I was 17, I was managing a store. And then I came back here when I was, 22? And I started running the store. And, so after I got my job situated and I was the man in charge, I thought it'd be a good idea to maybe finish college, you think? And so I did that, and I just continued to stay in the capacity that I was in as a general manager. And I learned a few other systems along the way, and then we opened up the rallies probably 2013, and I operate both of them, and here we are today. And I was able to earn a little skin in the game, so I'm part owner, part operator.
A little equity in the game.
Yeah, a little equity, yeah. So, if I go, it's going to cost them a little bit.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good. You got a little control now.
Yeah, I got a little, it makes you feel, and after all these years,
you deserve a little.
I guess it's part of the process. Yeah. That's what happens sometimes when you stick around and do something for a little while, is you gain a little equity in it. You know,
get skin in the game.
You got skin in the game.
Let
Yep.
your buddy Dino kind of come in, put sticker machines in.
Right. Let my buddy put sticker machines in, and so I would recommend that for anybody who's looking for a career. You don't necessarily have to go to college right away.
Yeah, exactly.
But you do need to have a little bit of. You got to have some drive. You got to have some ambition. You got to be able to take constructive criticism, and you need to put yourself out there a little bit. You need to take a little risk, and you need to follow directions.
Yeah.
A lot of us don't like to be told what to do. So if young people are looking for something to do, I mean, even with the games, you've got to answer to your customers. You got to answer to the operators. You got to answer to the people that you're getting your stuff from, procuring the machines, and then just listening to your customers.
Yeah, the feedback.
Yeah, what kind of stuff they like, what stuff they don't like, and be able to make these adjustments.
And the sales show it. In my experience, I tried cheaper products when I first started and learned. You know what? I can make bigger sales. Put Nintendo Switch games there. We put quality Pokemon product and the stuff that kids just want.
And you run a fair game.
And we run a fair game.
Run a fair game.
For what it is.
I mean, you can't people can't win all the time, but they can't lose all the time either. There has to be an element of challenge there.
And no one does what we do. I mean, I do up to 30% product cost at some of my locations. And most people that are in my business, they do 5%, 10%.
Right.
I'm trying to give out as many prizes as I possibly can, because if people win, people come back. People don't win, they will not come back.
Right.
And my sales show it.
Well, and I think that's important for somebody who's starting out in this too, in any business. I mean, you got to let your customers win a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like with me in the restaurant business, I got to make sure I give my customers a fair shake.
Shake.
I can't make all the money on one meal. I have to spread it out a little bit.
Make a little bit more on the drinks.
So that way people got a good feeling. So when they come here and they have a meal and they think, man, I got a fair shake on that. I paid a fair price, but I got a fair product in return.
I got a good meal. I got great customer service. I was at a clean booth with good lighting.
Well, some people think when they put up a new business that there's no effort involved, and they can just charge whatever they want and make all the money they want, and they can just sit back.
Reality hits fast.
Got a couple of guys that they want to buy their own restaurant, and I thought, well, that's so they don't have to go to work, and they're going to be up to a rude awakening.
I was kind of.
They're going to work a little bit more.
A little bit. I thought getting into the pizza shop would be it's already running, it's already got sales. I could just hop in there, run it every couple days, make sure things are rock and rolling. Nope, I was in there every day.
Right, exactly.
And actually, my editor Jared here was actually my manager at Deanos.
Okay,
for a little while, for a couple years, 2 years, something like that, and he did a great job. And it's hard to find people like Jared.
Right.
It's hard to find those.
Hard to find good go-getters. It really is.
In a business, you got to offer. If you can't offer a high wage, you got to offer good work morale or a good environment. You got to offer other attributes, because that's how you stay competitive.
Yep.
If you can't offer the $30 an hour, then you got to offer other stuff.
And probably one of the things that you can do is just be honest. Be honest with you. Be honest with the people you're working with, and be honest with the customers that you're dealing with. Give everybody a fair shake and be honest with them.
Right.
And I think that's super important.
I make. We got this kind of sales, so we have to base it off of all these metrics and factors. I mean, the price of a burger is different than the price of pop, and it all works out.
Yeah. So while you've presented to me, that hey, these games, there's not a lot involved in putting them in and just letting them sit there and then they do their thing.
They do their thing, right?
But there's some background involved.
Right. You gotta get the product. You gotta make sure it's all working correctly, clean, and make sure people are happy with it. Making sure there's no problems just in general.
Yeah. So there is a fair amount of energy that goes in the setup.
Yeah, 100%.
And then selling the location. Hey, can I put them here?
Yeah, that's a hard barrier.
But I think once you got them in, and once they're sitting there, and they're clean and they're working, and then they just do their thing. Now the effort goes away.
Yeah.
Yep. So you put a lot of it in at the beginning, and I think it's kind of like when you're setting up any business.
Yeah, it's a lot of commitment.
At the beginning, there's a lot of commitment. You got to put all this together. You got to put all these people together. The knowledge and the equipment and all the stuff that you need. And you're thinking, man, I'm not getting, and you're not getting paid the whole time. No, there's no money yet.
Even if
you're spending money.
Yeah, you're spending it. You might have someone come in and they bring a dog, they bite up the freaking booth because nobody realized they can't have a dog.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're like, what happened to my $10,000 booth? Oh, the dog ripped them all up.
Fido.
Now what?
Right. But I think, but I think with the machines, it's important for people to realize that once they're here, they do their thing.
They do their thing. They make cash.
Do their thing. Yep. And they work real well, and basically you just got to maintain them.
Yep.
But there's a lot of effort that goes in on the front end of this ordeal.
The machines, making sure I store them, because I can't just walk into a place and say, all right, well, I'm buying one, wait 6 months, it'll come in. I got to make sure it's coming, within a couple of weeks.
Right.
Good time frame. That way they're not waiting forever and they forget about me. So I'm always trying to make sure we're getting equipment, getting it on location, getting equipment, getting on location, and really just
I've set up a couple restaurants now, and where we've done new store openings, and there's a lot of effort that goes into getting the location built and set up and staffed and equipped and inventoried, and but it's satisfying. It takes a lot of high energy, and you put in a lot of time, but you're learning at the same time. You're always learning. Even if you've done it before, you're still learning. And then once you get it going and you start the maintenance steps, it still takes effort, but it's a different kind of effort, and it's probably
it's all as time consuming once you're in there.
Right, but once you get it going, then you can back off a little bit.
Yeah.
Because now you got systems in place for people to help you, and you can kind of just let it do its thing.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you maintain it, which is like your machines, come in, fill them, keep them clean. Collect the cash, count it, get it all sorted, and then just do that process over and over and over again. But you can't forget about them.
Can't forget about them.
Oh wait, I haven't been back to those machines in about 6 or 8 months.
I didn't even remember. I gotta go down.
You gotta go back. So
gotta get on that route. Yeah.
And it's just like setting up one of these places. You have to check in on it. You have to take 100%. Care of it. You got to massage it a little bit.
The door seals are good.
Yeah, all those little intangibles. Yep. So I guess if you're really not, willing to do those kinds of things,
24 hours a day. If you're not working 24 hours a day, don't get in business.
Or you can work for the man.
Or you work for the man. You can work 9 to 5 or 24 hours a day.
Whatever you want.
That is how I've always looked at business.
But it's more satisfying for me to be able to call the shots. And
you like it here. I mean, I've seen that. Whenever
I like doing what I do.
You're rock and roll. You're talking to customers.
I like it.
What can I do better today? Just make things better and better and better and better.
Yeah, we don't settle for mediocre.
No, definitely
don't settle for mediocre.
There's always enjoyment. There's always people happy to be here.
Thanks.
It's beautiful to see.
Appreciate it. Well, you're always smiling too.
I'm always smiling.
Makes it easier for me to deal with.
I'm always making money. So I'm always smiling.
I don't want to be dealing with somebody that's all pissed off and got a frown on their face.
Yeah, and that's the thing with business. I've talked to a lot of other younger people in the arcade industry, not necessarily Michigan because nobody's doing it in Michigan, but in other states over the internet, they're like, I go in and I don't really get the location, or I don't really get the sale, and I'm like, well, did you go in with a good personality? Did you tell them that you're local, you're happy, you're outgoing, you got new equipment, your background of other businesses that you've worked with, or something? They're like, oh, well, no, I just went in and said I just got a machine, and I don't really care if I get the location or not. I told them that.
Right.
You can't.
No.
You got to go there. You got to sell it. You got to sell services. You got to sell them. Like
you're really counting on this location.
You got to count on it. Because the more you get, the more you make.
And I think too, when I talked to you, I got the impression from you that you'd spent your time studying this stuff, that you knew it. You spent a lot of time researching the product, the machines. You understood them. You knew about them.
Pokemon cards, the prices. What can we?
You knew the processes.
What do people want in the Pokemon cards? They want vintage. They want new. They want VMAX.
And I also felt like too, you had an uplink. Like you had some networking that you had done.
I made all the networking.
So if you were going to run into a problem, I got the impression, hey, I know who to call. I've got some people that I can contact that, if we get jammed up, let's say a machine stops working or whatever. I just felt like you had done enough research and you had made enough good connections that you were established enough that, okay, I can have him put these machines in here and he's going to take care of them.
Exactly.
I had that confidence from you that you were going to take care of them. Because, you talk to people and they just want to drop it, leave it, and think that some magic bullet's going to just take care of everything.
Yeah, that's the number one thing those older guys do. I mean,
no magic bullets.
Yeah, they drop off the golden T arcade game or something and they forget about it for a year. I hear about this when I go to new locations. I'm like, oh, do you guys have somebody? They're like, no, we had somebody, but they didn't pay us, or they dropped something off. Never came back.
That's not cool.
That's not cool because you're really putting a nuisance on a business if you're not going there to check. You're not going there to clean it. You're not taking care of it.
That has happened to me in the past, and I'm glad you brought that up. And what I've done as an operator, I just take that machine and they're mobile. They got wheels, and I just wheel them out the door, and I put them out back, and I'll say, hey, your machine's here. You can come and get it.
Come get it.
Come and get it. I don't want it.
Exactly. And that's why I do no contract, no commitment. If you don't like me,
and that's good too.
Because I don't want contracts. I don't want people thinking they're tied down. I don't want anyone feeling like they're restricted in any way. Tomorrow you kick me out if you didn't like me. But obviously you like me. We're doing a podcast right now.
And I found that a lot of times when you don't have a contract, it actually works better better in a lot of cases, and it depends on what it is.
Yeah.
You know, now me, like I have waste removal, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, now I have to get rid of my garbage.
Right.
So I have to make sure I have a contract that says, hey, this guy's going to be here and he's going to pick up this garbage.
Gotta get the garbage out of here.
But like if I got a window guy, let's say, you know, I'll use him for an example. We don't have a contract. We just have an understanding. He comes, this is when he does the windows, and if I got an issue, I talk to him, blah, blah, blah. I make sure that I pay him right away, and as long as I pay him, he keeps coming back, and if I quit paying him, then he stops coming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty simple as that. And I think the machines are the same way. As long as, you know, you got a place that's willing to take your machine, and you keep after it, you check it every month, you know, you take the money out, you make the payment that you do what you said you were going to do.
Right, exactly.
That's what's important. Is you do what you said you're going to do. Yep. Oh, you drive truck too, right?
Yeah, I drive truck over the road.
So you got your own mobile office, your office on wheels.
Yep. I listen to podcasts all the time. I listen to a lot of financial stuff, and I'm always learning about businesses, and that's the best part of the job. Nobody calls and bothers me. No one's calling me saying, all right, hey man, you know, you got to speed it up or slow it down. They just let me do my thing.
Right. But you do it. But you do it. Yeah, you don't drag your feet. When you're supposed to be from point A to point B, you make sure that you get there when you're supposed to. You're there when you were supposed to be there. You did what you're supposed to do. Yeah. Well, and that's understandable. I mean, you know, there might be a hiccup. I mean, let's say you were supposed to deliver a machine to me, and we had a snowstorm, or like today we had our little fender bender out front. You know, it happens. But you were still here. You still came through. You still did what you said you were going to do. And I think a lot of these young people, when they're looking for jobs and they're trying to build careers,
they don't have the energy. They don't have the passion.
Well, you got to get that energy, and you have to realize that you have to do what you say you were going to do. Exactly. You have to commit, and sometimes committing's not comfortable. Sometimes, you know, you make a commitment, and I know we've had a situation here where you know, one of the machines, you know, we had to tweak it a little bit because it wasn't doing exactly what we would like it to do.
Right.
Or, you know, maybe we hit now this time of year we're hitting a little bit of a sales drop. There's not as much traffic. I-75's not as busy. There's not as many local people out. It's winter time. It's cold.
I miss the summer sales.
Yeah, summer's nice.
Man,
summer's our high time.
I got winter locations.
But you know what? Don't freak out. We're not going to start ripping all the machines out now. We're just going to let them wait. We're going to take care of them, still keep them clean, still check them, still stock them, still do what we got to do. And then when things start picking back up, which we know they will because we have a trend, it'll all come back there.
And it's going to be crazy because Stackers at rallies now, so it's going to, because we put that in at like the fall. We put that right at the end.
So we haven't even seen its potential.
We don't even know its potential.
We have no idea.
For a grand a month, we have no idea what we can make.
Well, and in the summertime when you got a lot of captive audience on the patio, they're using the walk-up.
Yep. That's what I love about rallies. It's such a beautiful outside seating, and it's not like any other fast food.
No, nobody else has it.
Nobody else has that. You can't go into Wendy's has like something, McDonald's has something, but it's not nice. I mean, when I go over there, it's beautiful lighting. You can go there in the night, take beautiful photos of like.
Oh yeah, it's lit up like a Christmas tree.
You can drive like an old '60s car and like some old clothes.
Yeah.
Really make a cool retro Instagram-worthy photo with rallies.
I've had a few of them.
And that's what's really cool about rallies. You can't do that.
Some motorcycles.
Yeah, it's such a cool meetup spot.
I got good music out on the porch.
The best music.
I got Bose speakers out there.
We got a stacker inside, Pokemon stickers for the kids.
Yeah, and I'm still happy about my Bose speakers.
And those Bose, they do sound really nice.
They sound nice.
I was gonna say, usually I'm money focused. I'm over there. I'm like, all right, what's the sales? What are we putting in here?
Right.
Everything clean. You know, I'm not thinking about anything else.
And that's good. We want you to do that.
Yeah, I was saying.
But then after you're all done, if you want to sit on the porch and have a pop and a burger combo meal, you know.
Yeah.
We do burgers, fries, and colas over there.
Yeah, I was gonna say. And I remember even in August, I was sitting there counting my quarters. Oh man, Tom's gonna be so happy with me. Count all my quarters.
There's a nice cool breeze going through there.
I had the whole table filled up with quarters. I'm like, Tom's gonna be happy about this one.
I'm hoping that he'll be so happy he just takes us and says, we'll just give all these quarters to Tom.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day.
Maybe we break the 5-digit mark.
You'll run a Deanos dispensary special.
Yeah, something like that. We'll see. I comp my best locations. They know me. I comp them pretty well. You know, we get a insane month, I'll give them extra. You know, I try to really take big months.
Right.
My ice arena location, they know me pretty pretty well. The first month we busted sales like crazy. I'm like, here's an extra $100, like $50.
Well, see, that's why I always make sure you have a soda before you leave. You know, hey, would you like? Hey, what can I get for you? Yeah, can I get you a soda? You know, hook you up, man. That's what it's all about. Hooking 100%. Each other up, taking care of each other, and that's really important in a business relationship too.
Exactly, taking care of each other.
It's not one-sided. It's a two-way street.
Exactly.
Yep, it's 50-50.
Whatever you need, whatever I need. You need a power strip for something, I can go get a power strip.
Right.
Extension cable, I'll go get it.
And you know what? You need power? I'll get it.
Oh, you got the power.
I got the power, baby.
We're getting towards the end of this.
Yes, sir.
The Bigboy franchise, I don't know nothing about. I don't know the history.
We don't either.
You're killing me.
No, we do.
Okay, I was gonna say. I was like, come on, man. So I just want to know, how did Bigboy start? I'm sure it started here in Michigan. 100-something locations.
Well, actually, I believe it started in California.
Really?
Yeah, and there was a
Michigan brand.
There was a fella named Bob Wayne. Well, what they did is they met at a food show, and there was a top hat at the in Detroit, and that's how the company really started. And there was a fella that come in, and he dressed just like Bigboy. And this is back in the 30s, so this is fashionable to have a checkered shirt.
100 years ago.
Yeah, but nearly 100 years ago. And so people back then, you know, if you're just kind of hanging out in the neighborhood, you know, it's like baseball day or whatever. You got your tennis shoes on. You got a pair of white coveralls or checkered ones. He's wearing his checkered today. He's got his checkers today.
He didn't change.
No, and he's got a white T-shirt on. You know, I remember when I was a young kid, and I'm sure this guy, he was, you know, when he was coming into the restaurant and he would get his burger and fries and his Coke, pop. I don't know. They probably had Coke back then, I would imagine.
Yeah, Coke's been around for a while. I watched their stock value quite a bit.
Yeah, there you go.
I was going to say.
Maybe we need to talk about something else. So anyway, you know, he was probably a teenager, from what I gather, and so that's how they dressed. You know, he's just leisurely taking it easy, and so he became a regular at this cafe counter, and so the operator started making him a double-decker burger with 2 patties on it. You know, he's a big boy, and so that was his nickname. They nicknamed the guy Big Boy. So anyway, so these fellas are talking to this guy in California at a food show, and they're tossing it all around. Next thing you know, Big Boy's born. So they decide to open up a Big Boy and call it a restaurant, call it a Big Boy, and it worked well for them. So then they decided to open a second one, and you know, again, now we're back in the 50s. Yeah. And so franchising is a very new concept. There's not a lot of them out there. Yeah, we don't have all these other brands yet.
Exactly. Mom and pop.
So honestly, that is one easy point of entry because it's new and no one else is doing it. So these guys, they set up a franchise and they started to put up more stores. And then as they're putting up these stores, they become salesmen and they start talking to guys like us and say, hey, would you like to get in the restaurant business? Because strength in numbers, it's like these machines you got. Yeah. The more you put up, the more money you make.
Yeah.
So it's like a cookie cutter deal. And so then what happened is for the next, 30 years, from 50 to 1980, the Big Boy brand grew quite a bit. And that was kind of in our heyday. And back in the 80s and the mid-90s, through that period, family dining was quite popular. These casual diners like Applebee's and the rest of them, they hadn't really taken hold. They hadn't gotten grip of the market yet. Okay. Probably about the 90s, they really started to gain some traction in the market. And what that did is it kind of put the family dining in its place a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at today. Is Big Boy, we're still out there. We're still in a lot of different markets, but it's different. Family dining isn't your go-to like it used to be because you got these other brands. And so what we do is we change with it. Are we going to have alcohol? Probably not. That's not our thing. We're still a family dining restaurant. We're still a diner. We're still going to have a mid-value type menu.
Yeah.
We're not going to be a high-end. We're not going to be a low-end. We're not a little truck stop or anything. No offense.
I'll swing my 18 wheeler right through the building.
Right, I know. Here it comes. Honk, he's going to terrorize me. So anyway, so the family dining has had to adjust a little bit to the market, and I think any business business operator needs to do that. I mean,
Always.
your machines they won't all get to stay where they're at right now.
Right.
What's going to happen is,
lose a location. You're always going to.
You'll gain a location.
Right,
so what'll happen is maybe one of the places that we got now, it'll maybe they'll change their methodology, they'll change their theme, whatever. Yep. Somebody else will own them, and then hey, we got to move some machines around. So you just got to make adjustments, and I think anybody who's in business has to realize that there's got to be adjustments. Yep.
There's always. The best thing I was ever told with other operators was, don't get worried about losing a location. You're always going to lose a location.
Yep.
Every location you have, you will lose eventually, whether you die or
somebody else.
if something else happens. You're always going to lose a location.
Right.
So I always take them, with a grain of salt. I try not to base my life around all my locations.
Right.
I'd be kind of sad if I lost them all because I've built up this little business. But I try to make sure I have an understanding of. I might have insane sales, but those sales could change.
They could change.
I might miss out on a bunch of locations. I might lose something. And that's okay because it's no contract, no commitment. And that's the best part about it.
And because we were able to change, we're still here.
100%.
We got some staying power.
Credit cards. That's the thing that I really like to reiterate with businesses.
So we drive the business.
They don't get credit cards. They don't get the whatever the new, even like wireless pay or whatever the new thing is. If they got to stay ahead with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they do.
They just if people were just taking checks and cash.
Honestly,
you might be missing out.
And I know there's still some wrinkles to work out, but my opinion is, as a business operator, I would like to be cashless. There's a lot of advantages to being cashless. Now, there's a couple downsides, but with the society that we live in, we've kind of worked through most of those downsides. Everybody's got some type of credit card, they've got some type of charge card, a phone pay or something, and they're used to using it. Everybody's gotten real familiar with it. So now I don't have any cash. Well, now I don't have to go to the bank. I don't have to have a safe full of money. I don't have to count deposits. I don't have to.
A lot more transparent.
It's auditable.
Exactly.
But you can see everything there. Nope. And I don't have to worry about people taking the money either.
Right. There's it's completely auditable on every scale that you need, whether it's on a higher scale, a mid scale, or even just like your local banking stuff.
Everything has its place, but this is one of the things I don't think we need to be afraid of cashless. I really don't. And I think cashless will work in some pockets. I don't think it'll go like 100% nationwide, but I think there'll be environments and there'll be pockets where it's going to work real well, and then there'll be pockets where it's not practical. It's just like electric vehicles. I think electric vehicles eventually they will be very prevalent in the metropolitan areas, but in areas like we have where you do a lot of driving and a lot of traffic, cold weather,
it's hard.
It might not be as practical, and that's okay because we can have both.
We can have exactly, and that's the best part about everything. Whether it's vehicles, everything, having diversification in everything, whether it's personal portfolio, whether it's in a business, whether it's vehicles, whether it's a house. It's just being practical and diverse in everything.
We can share the land.
Exactly.
That's 100%. Right. Awesome.
Well,
dude, this was fun. I had a blast.
This is the first podcast.
It was really cool. I had fun.
Nice.
And thanks. We had a great cameraman, Jared, right?
Jared,
all right.
Cameraman. So.
Awesome. Cool. So I don't have one of those things that we can go cut.
I'll edit it in.
Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks, guys, man. I appreciate it.
This is awesome.